Hey everyone, how are you guys doing in this crazy reality? So before I begin, just a couple of announcements. I'm very excited. The film is being subtitled in so many languages, so people will be able to watch it all over the world. Super cool. We're going to be posting a countdown for the film when it becomes available, so you guys can know and jump on it, because I get all these emails like, when is it going to be out? When is it going to be out? So it is coming, and it's going to be incredible. And also I have new classes. Again, we've been updating the website, so just be patient. Stay tuned. And also today I'm mostly going to answer your questions, because the narrative is pretty much the same. And before I forget, you guys, please, please, please tell your friends and you yourselves, go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost anything and it helps me out, okay? So could you please do that for me? And yeah, let's go ahead and start posting your questions. I feel that, again, what's happening right now is more a time, we talked about it being a time of reset, but it's not just resetting like your habits. It's resetting your whole consciousness on all levels, physical, mental, emotional. I feel like you have to reset every aspect of your life now for the rest of your life. Does that make sense? So I'm not sure if any of you are going through some stuff, something physical or emotional that you thought was completed. But actually, I feel like all of this is coming up to finally come to a close. It's almost like you have to resolve everything to start over. I feel like this is a brand new chapter that will go on to the rest of your life. Let me know if you guys relate to that. And so because of this, I feel like, a lot of things could be confusing. If you have physical symptoms that are weird, if you have things and issues that, again, are coming out of nowhere, go ahead and type in your questions about that. Yes, tired, all kinds of weird things happening. So if you put it in the context that this is being worked out so that you never have this problem again for the rest of your life, does that help? That's what I feel. I feel it's kind of like an initiation. I feel we are being prepared for what's yet to come. Again, we talked about this, but for the rest of your life. So let me stop here for a second and see if anybody has a comment on this, and if I can just redirect this and help you at least on this point before we go any further. Do you have any questions? Michael is here with me. By the way, Michael, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for helping with all of this. Lori and Michael have been great help. So do we have any questions on this?
Well, thanks so much, Carolyn, for the kind words. And thank you everyone that's watching around the world on YouTube right now. And yeah, we have some excellent questions in the chat so far. So I'm going to combine a few. A few people are talking about being tired.
Yes.
Just being overly fatigued. Can you touch on that first for us, please?
Yeah, because so much is happening. It's almost like you're having to make decisions. You're having to adjust and address all kinds of problems at the same time. So it feels like an overload of work, even though you're not actually like working, but it's an energetic overload. So I totally relate to that. Also, the magnetic field of the planet is shifting very, very quickly. That makes you very tired, also very dizzy, like being pulled. So that's what I feel is happening for that.
Great. Franz wants to know, what are your thoughts about being centered in the storm right now?
Yes. I mean, again, I think we are witnessing something so interesting right now. It's almost like we are holding this pattern of alignment while around us there's all this chaos going on. It's almost like there's all these narratives. There's two main narratives. We talked about that. But we are here to hold it and to reset ourselves to become strong enough before we can exit, if you will. That's why this time is crucial for you to reassess everything, even your diet, even like if you're, again, going back to feeling tired. If you're feeling tired, also ask the question, is this something chemical or is it just energetic? It's for you to reassess everything that you're doing before you go back into the storm. So this is a very empowering and quite important time for you to reconsider and readjust every aspect of your being before you forge ahead. Does that make sense? And so, yeah, it's like we're in the eye of the storm. And so, and this storm is not going anywhere. Even though they're saying we're going back to normal, what is normal? I don't think we'll ever go back to what it used to be. And in a way, it's good because what it used to be was a mess anyway. And so because of that, this is all very, very positive. And this eye in the storm helps you bring more and more new information about how you are going to proceed, okay? Very crucial time for you. Again, this reset time is going to be for the rest of your life. Just think about that for a moment, okay? Next.
Well said. There's also a few people talking about dizziness, and I think that's a little bit separate from fatigue. What are your thoughts on that, Caroline?
Yeah, again, the dizziness has to do with the electromagnetic of the planet. So we talked about that a few times. You are being put, it feels like, because your brain channels are plugged into the grid. And so the grid is also on an energetic level. And when the magnetism around the planet changes, it's almost like it's pulling you and you feel it inside your brain. You feel like, whoa, what just happened here? And so that's the reason why, you know, it's very common to have those kind of dizziness moments. And also your brain channels are being realigned with the new grid. So that's the reason why you may feel that. There's nothing to be concerned with. I mean, if it gets crazy, of course you want to pay attention. But I would say drink more water and do it consciously. Like when it comes to you, see if you can focus on aligning your energy with the higher grid pattern and see if that dizziness goes away. At least do some breathing, slow breathing, and normally it should pass. If it's very, very strong, I would say your body cannot hold the new vibration, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you need a little bit more time and more energy to strengthen your body. So just stop what you're doing, just relax, just breathe, and consciously see if you can align with those vibrations and see if that passes.
Awesome. Caroline, there's so much talk about a COVID vaccine in the news recently.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for people that would rather not take one?
Yeah, so I feel like there's two main narratives. There's more than that, but the two main, one is obviously if you want to go back to your life, you know, you want to save your jobs, you want to save whatever, go back to what you used to do, well, you have to be protected and you cannot be a danger to others. Therefore, the only way is to get tested and vaccinated. And so that's one main kind of narrative that they're laying on us that is kind of the only way out. And so that's what, I mean, they think. But there's another narrative. If you notice, there's more and more people saying, wait, no way, over my dead body, I'm not doing that. And so because of the two narratives are so strong and so clashing, I think there's going to be a lot of chaos. In other words, even though that's the main agenda, but there will be a lot of resistance as well. So the problem with this, it's not a problem, but what's happening is that every country, even every state is, and even on smaller, on a community level, people are so divided. So that's the reason why I feel like some places are going to be safer than others. What if your boss tells you, well, if you want to come back to work, the new policy is you have to be vaccinated. Well, you have to make a choice. Does it make sense to me to do that, to inject that stuff in my body, or say, I don't care if I lose my job, I'm not doing that? That's what I'm trying to say. This is the time for you to decide and to be sure which narrative you're buying into. And so even though that is going to be the main narrative, and the tracking, to me, the tracking is very disturbing, because the tracking is going to be on with apps on your phone, all kinds of stuff, to see if you got it, who else you came in contact with, and it's like you're being observed. And if I don't have it now, does it mean I'm not going to have it in 2 months or whatever? So they're going to justify that as keep tracking you. And so because of this whole kind of idea that we have to be on top of it by tracking you, by even invading your home. Now they're passing all these crazy laws that, you know, they have the right to come inside your home if they believe that somebody in your household is positive and is danger to you. The new law says they have the right to take them outside your home. Well, imagine they're taking your kids away. What's going to happen? And so a lot of people are going to say, over my dead body, no pun intended. But really, it's going to be very, very, very messy. So what I'm trying to say is, even though there's all these new laws and all of this, you know, this narrative that that's the only way out, there is another way out. And the other way out is to say no, to start signing petitions and to find locations, countries, states, communities where you can navigate and make your own choice. I started talking about this last time. I feel from now you should start thinking and finding your way to that new location. And so this is the time. This is no joke. And even though a normal vaccine takes 10 years, but of course now they're talking about months. What kind of vaccine is that going to be? I mean, even vaccines already are very questionable. So now with all these theories, like we have to hurry up and make this happen with all the tracking, to me, this is very disturbing. And so, but my point is, yes, this is going to be the main narrative, but there is another way you can focus on your other way. Which areas, which locations, which countries are doing something else. Having said that, the connection between the two, for example, Finland, Sweden, they didn't follow what the rest of the world were doing. But let's pretend, let's say that Finland is going to say, well, vaccination is not mandatory, and you all go to Finland. Yes, but then you won't be able to go to other countries. Does that make sense? So start thinking. This is, I called 2020 the year of the great divide. Once you're in that one bubble, you won't be able to cross over to the other bubble. That's what's coming. Does that make sense? So start looking out for yourself. Think about where you want to be and how you want to be from now. Does that make sense? Does that help?
That's a great answer. Now, you started to answer this question, but I'm going to let it out anyway.
Yes.
Cindy wants to know, how is this experience that we're facing right now any different than in, say, the early 1900s with polio, the polio vaccine, and then World Wars I and II happening at the same time?
This is very different to me, because on an energetic level, humanity is at a whole different intersection. It's kind of at a point where the timeline is completely different. It is making decisions for the rest of, for the next 250 years. They don't know that, but it is what is happening. That's why all the politics and all the measures being taken are just like, hey, this is just an opportunity to take control or to save humanity, or the other way around, but actually from higher, again, we keep going to the bird's eye view, from the divine plan, from the bigger perspective. As you look down, this juncture is completely different. It is taking the earth and humanity into the final chapter of isolation. And again, I said this will take 250 years. For those who are not familiar, my books, my classes, I talk about that in the divine plan. But that's why this juncture is really the most significant one, rather than comparing it. Because we always want to go back and say, well, wait, didn't this happen then? This happened, whatever. You have to go back 240,000 years if you want to go back anywhere. And so this juncture is very, very, very significant. And this makes you think, why did you choose to come, to incarnate in this body at this moment in time, when the earth and humanity is making this turn, this drastic turn to the finish line? So think about that. Put on your on your computer everywhere you go. Why have I come at this time to witness this, to go through this? Because, and when you ask this question, in fact, I want to just have an idea. How does it feel when you ask yourself this question? What kind of reaction do you get? What comes up for you? Michael, do you hear anybody?
I'm sorry, I thought you were asking in general, not myself.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean, like, does anybody typing anything? What comes up for you when you say, why did I come in at this time? Like, why didn't I come in the 50s? When you probably were here, in the 50s, but like, just like, hey, this life is good, the American dream, or whatever. In other countries is a different story, but I mean, why this time? And so I can see some responses here. Final karma. Why have I come to witness this? Why have I incarnated on earth at this time to witness all this and to go through all of this?
We also have some people that are experiencing time strangely.
Yes.
For instance,
yes.
says he feels like the day is over before he had time to really live the day. What's going on? Is it just me?
Yes.
And he mentioned my sound wasn't coming through too well. I wasn't sure if people could hear me or not.
Can you guys hear Michael? Oh, you know what? It's probably coming through my earpiece. Can you guys hear? Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, just to finish that thought, you have come at this time to witness something very unique, because you have a role. You have a unique role to play in this new timeline. And so when you start asking this question, you start to bring up and download what your role is about. And that's very empowering, like I said. So you're not just like, okay, basically what you're needing to say is moving from what would I want to do? Who would I want to be for the rest of my life? This is what this is about. And so, and to answer that question about time, yes, the sun is changing its cycle in a way. I'm not sure if NASA is picking up anything or saying anything, but it's the light that is coming from the sun. It's adding an octave of light in a very gradual way. Because of that, it gives you the impression that there's a lot of light coming sooner. Now, again, I cannot explain this scientifically because this is beyond normal science. So the scientists, just lay off here. We're talking about energetics. We're talking about consciousness, or whatever. So, but what's happening is that because of this new octave of light is changing the way you are absorbing. So it's almost like you're absorbing at a higher frequency. So it's like things are faster. You think, you know, it's who's sleeping late as well. So you're probably sleeping late, and the day goes by very, very fast. Even though you're confined, you're not doing as much. You know, you usually go out and do stuff, and then by the end of the day, you're like, wow, you know, you've done so much. Here, you're not doing the same or as much stuff, and yet time is going back so quickly. So that is what's happening. This new octave of light is speeding up the impression that you are you are absorbing more information, and it's a higher frequency. So that's what's really happening. And of course, we talked about this. The new octave of light also eventually, this is happening very, very gradually, but it's also expanding your third eye, your ability to see better and more and past the human spectrum. So that is also the benefit of that. But at the same time, it's kind of weird. And some people may also have some eye problems, you know, when you're focusing on something. So again, all of this is the adjustment of the light being absorbed. Does that make sense? And was that helpful?
I hope it was. Now, are those same factors going to do the same thing with people's personal relationships? Because those seem to be changing differently than before as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Every aspect of your life has to change. Everything, your relationship, your physical body, who you are, your identity, the way you deal with emotions, the way you express yourself. You have to, in a way, this could be very helpful, is to write down the new you. This is very, very helpful. Begin to write down every aspect of yourself, how you want to be. Don't worry so much of how you have been. Just moving forward and for the rest of my life. For example, of course, needless to say, I want my physical body to be strong and, you know, and healthy, needless to say. But I also want it to be aligned with specific vibrations. Be very, very specific. Emotionally, how do I want to deal emotionally with everything moving forward? Do I want to be more distant? Do I want to be more emotional? How do I notice how you normally respond to things emotionally and start to change it? If you don't like it, change it. Write down how you want to become emotionally, mentally, energetically, spiritually. And once you do that, now you go to every aspect of your life, relationships, finances, of course, work. So start, again, always keep in mind in your focus that this is the new you for the rest of your life. So as you do this, you will kind of notice a lot of things coming up. Like, wait, you know, do I have to change this relationship? Do I really want a new relationship? All of these questions will come up because, like I said, you are resetting, you are starting with a brand new clean slate for the rest of your life. Does that make sense?
That's great. A lot of people are also talking about concern for animals, whether it's their animals or animals in general. Can you expound on that a little bit for us?
Yeah. I notice also a lot of animals are leaving the planet. I don't know if you have heard of that or if you're noticing this, but this is nothing to be concerned with, because don't forget, it's part of the animal consciousness, is part of the earth consciousness. So whatever the earth is doing in her shifting is also taking into consideration the animal life and the plant life. And so because of that, I feel right now you are a lot more concerned with yourself. Again, this is not to be selfish, but it's more to, when you reset yourself with a very strong base, then you'll be able to help and do other things, whatever you're supposed to do in all areas. So that's the reason why I would say it's all being taken care of. It's all part of the plan. The earth knows exactly what to do. And like I said, a lot of animals will be evacuating just like a lot of humans are. At this time, it's just part of the cleansing and the recycling and the resetting. And when they come back, it will be on the new earth being recycled. So it's actually very, very positive. Unless you have a specific question, you're just concerned that what about the animal. But maybe this answer helped you. All right.
You touched on the universal shift, and Heinz asked at the exact same time, is the universe shifting to a more feminine vibration?
Yeah, I don't like the word feminine and masculine. It's not feminine like in a human feminine. Like, for example, I have a female feminine body, but my energy is not necessarily just feminine. And so it's a little bit bigger than that. It's not so much feminine versus masculine or whatever. It's more of a specific alignment with source, and source is oneness. It's a different type of calibration. So I would not say it's a more feminine, actually. It's more a balance and a wholeness, wholesomeness in terms of universal calibration. And even though we see more women coming out and becoming, you know, more visible, recognizable, more leaders, but it's not really because they're female. Although the packaging on the outside helps a lot, you know, shift the belief system that it doesn't have to be a man, a male person to occupy these leadership roles. So from a psychological, sociological, mental kind of perspective, you see the females becoming stronger and more visible. But on a much bigger scale, it doesn't translate this way. It's a lot bigger configuration of geometry and calibration. So I wouldn't call it feminine. Does that help?
That's a great answer. A few people want to know, could you have some sort of class or meditation where you could help us do this?
Yeah, at the end of this, which we're going to close pretty soon, we're going to put the meditation that I did 2 months ago is honestly extraordinary. You guys need to be doing just that. You know, every time you feel you're off, just to recenter, I would say just do that one meditation. We're going to post it in the comments. And by the way, for those who are just joining, again, if I could remind you to please subscribe, because it's free and also because it helps me out. And then we keep those comments, post a comment so that other people can be helped, because I keep getting those random emails like questions that I've already answered here or that are answered in the comments. So that's the reason why I appreciate it if you post whatever leftover questions or comments in the comments so that we can help other people as well. Okay? So we will post that meditation again, and I highly encourage you guys to do it at that time once we're done. Okay?
Great. All right, we're going to bring it up a little bit here. We have some other questions. Bear with my computer making noises.
Yeah, no worries.
Can you talk about anything about the role of other galactic beings and interfacing with planet Earth during these times?
Yeah, so they're basically right here. They're watching us. They're actually stepping in as needed. So it's almost like you're having to, again, I want to call it initiation. I feel like it's an initiation period to reset yourself in this brand new way. And so they're here to help. So that's why they will give you the downloads that you need much faster. You know, they're like right there. If you need a healing, they're right there. So I feel like they're closer and more present. But are they gonna all of a sudden show up on your lawn? I'm not sure. It's not necessary. And actually, it doesn't really work this way because it's normally against the universal laws. Let's not get into that whole conversation. It has to do with spectrum of information, how each species exists within a specific spectrum. And in fact, they're more helpful on the other side, because as you're shifting your energy, if you had a physical person in front of you, it's not the same as when, because you're focused on their physical body and whatever they're doing. But when it's an energetic thing and you are shifting your energy and saying, I want to feel this way, I want to focus this way, I want to release this or reconfigure that, and you feel it happen, you know, more stronger and more powerful, I feel like it strengthens your energetic ability. You see what I mean? We are obsessed that we want everything physical to kind of, you know, validate or be sure. But, you know, a lot of the work is also being done energetically from the other side. And that's what these guys are doing. Having said that, down the road, as needed, we will see physical manifestation of those beings at the right time.
You got close to the next follow-up question, but you didn't quite answer it. So do you think there'll ever be a time when human beings will be living side by side with other beings, whether it's here or up planet?
Yes, but down the road, not right now. Like I said, from 2026, the Earth has to, on a physical level, has to start rebuilding. Like I said, we have to create a different type of society. And as we move into that, then past that, this is when those beings can start to enter, filter through this spectrum and literally be physically with us. But again, not quite yet. So in other words, we, the Earth, those two timelines that are so in contradiction have to right now make people, like I said, find their way, right? I've been talking about that. Once we are in our own bubbles, we have to build the new Earth. That's what we're doing. And so as we're building the new Earth, the new economy, new financial, new free energy will start to emerge. And when that starts to happen, the new Earth frequency, the new Earth paradigm starts to emerge. So at that time, all of the vibrations are very different. The spectrum is larger, what we see, what we hear, and this is when those beings can filter through. So don't expect, according to, you know, universal laws, you know, don't expect things to kind of come in by force, because everything that is universal is natural. Everything that's aligned in a divine way is natural and graceful. And so this means that it has to be like a perfect balance, you know, like they have to come in at the time where the Earth is rising, if you will. And that's a perfect vibrational match, and it will be seamless. All right? Because the force adds to the resistance. It's almost like we want a UFO to land and have a bunch of ETs come out and tell us, you know, what's going on. So because, again, they exist in another frequency and they're kind of filtering through this frequency, and they look completely different. If they're humans, it's a different story, but those humans aren't coming in a UFO. So, but if we want those, you know, complete like alien looking beings so that match, because the Earth is not there yet, you see? So it's kind of like you're forcing, it's like you're taking a healing medicine or something too soon. Like you haven't developed the problem, or you don't have that match yet, and you're already taking something to help you, but you don't have that. Does that make sense? I don't know if this was a good example, but the point is, you know, it's almost like anything that's unnatural, that's a better way, unnatural is like forcing. And when you're forcing, you are off the flow of source. Source is very graceful, it's very natural. That's why the beings who are helping, they don't just step out. Sometimes the way they help is through a natural, you know, a storm or an earthquake. Sounds crazy. It sounds hard, but that's the natural way the earth revives itself. You see, you go to the chiropractor and you kind of open these pathways, these meridians, by aligning yourself. In the same way, the earth has to shift itself. So the tectonic plates have to shift a little bit so it can breathe again. And so all of this is natural. That's why we call them natural disasters. So I want to call them natural adjustments. And so that everything that is source-based, universe-based is going to first be natural. Everything that's human-made is usually unnatural, if that makes sense. And that is the idea behind other beings just stepping in when it's the wrong time, or not the right, because there's nobody else that looks like that. So all of a sudden they show up in a society that doesn't understand it or is not ready vibrationally. That is not a balanced or a natural way. Makes sense?
Well said. Carolyn, do you have any advice for people that are dealing with anger issues that are just coming out of the blue and they're not sure how to deal with them?
Yeah, I just mentioned that. Things are coming out of nowhere for you. I mean, I don't know who's asking this question, but I started by saying you're going to be bringing up all kinds of things you thought were done with, for you to finally bring to a close, for you to finally say, I need to deal with this. I need to figure it out. Again, you're starting a new chapter for the rest of your life. Whatever has been triggering this anger, it's coming up for you right now to finally deal with it and say, I get it. This is what this is about. Moving forward, this is how I'm going to react about this. Does that make sense? So yes, anger, also weirdness. I mean, do you not, it hits you, even if you are on this higher plane and can see the bigger picture, but it's still it's weird. I mean, do you not sometimes get up and just go like, okay, well, this is weird. This is very weird. All of this is helping you ask the question and reframe yourself to know how you're going to navigate, because the weirdness is not going away. Make sense? But now it's in our face. The weirdness has always been there, but kind of like shoved to the side under the carpet. Now it's in our face. It's everywhere. It's the stores, it's the news, it's people, it's the masks, it's the tracking, it's all of this crazy stuff. And so anger, any sort of issues that's coming up for you, physical, mental, emotional, this is the time to deal with it and get to a close. All right?
This touches on the weird a little bit. Franz mentions that he has the feeling that he's awake when he's sleeping, and it's really messing him up.
Yeah, I wonder if you're adjusting again to the new octave of light, messing with your ability to absorb light. And some people having sleeping issues, but to have the impression that you're sleeping versus awake, I guess I'll have to take a look at you. Who is it, Franz? I feel like there's a block above you, Franz, right here. There's a block here, and it's kind of not allowing the natural information to come through. So I would say do the connecting to source with the intent to release and get rid of any block that's right above at your chakra level. All right? Okay, guys. So
the stream's a little bit behind our live call, so we'll just wait for that. We're going to get some more questions here. Now, we've talked about this in previous episodes, but other people have been just working through issues of loneliness and isolation, where they thought they had worked through this, but it's surfacing once again.
Yes. And so on Wednesdays, I'm doing this live mini sessions. Right now, I'm dealing with anxiety. In June, we're going to be talking about isolation, loneliness, aloneness. Of course, it goes all the way to feeling alone on the planet. So like you're going at it alone, even there are people around you, it's just not the same. So all of this is coming up again for it to be healed and cleared and come to a close. So on Wednesdays, I'll be doing that. Make sure you come to the Wednesday sessions. All right, dreams are intense, yes. So, all right, so you get the drift. So the conclusion for today is just for you to be aware, to be conscious that everything that's coming up for you is the old you, for you to be done with it. Physical symptoms, weird stuff, you know, this is a perfect time. You probably don't have to go out to a job. You don't have to do certain things that you had to do before. So take this time to reset, to write the new chapter of who you are before you come out and begin to navigate again into the world. Again, thinking that the new you, whatever you're resetting, is for the rest of your life. Okay? We're going to post the meditation in the comments. Invite your friends, tell them to. It's all free. So please do these meditations. I'm offering them for free. There's a lot of help and support. On Wednesdays, we'll be doing those mini sessions. The next theme, like I said, is isolation and aloneness. Not just you, but aloneness on this planet. Like, because as you ask the question, who am I? How am I moving forward? Also, it brings up the question, am I alone? Like, is there anybody else in this with me? So there's a lot of help, a lot of support. It's all on here, and let's keep talking. Wednesdays for the mini session, and on Sundays, just to kind of see what's coming up for you as we navigate. There's no need to kind of keep rehashing the news. We know what the news are. We know the agenda. We talked about the timelines. These are the obvious timelines, basically, and just, kind of to summarize, there's sickness, there's disease. In order for me to take back my life, I have to immune myself. I have to be tracked. I have to be supervised. I have to be told, basically, I cannot go from point A to point B without permission. That's what it is. The other way is, no way, this isn't who I am. I'm going to do everything to create this new reality, from a petition to just navigating and finding an actual space, physical, geographical location that works for me. I'm going to be also, you can actually become self-sufficient much easier than you think. Begin to think that way. You need less the stores, the shopping, the whatever, the shipping, maybe not the shipping quite yet, but eventually you need less of that than you think. Right now, we're still lucky. We have internet. There's, as you know, there's a lot of, with this first narrative, we have, as we track you, we're also tracking what you're saying. We don't like what you're saying, we can shut you up. All of this is part of that one narrative. If you don't buy into it, focus on the new one. Say, this is where I'm going. I'm not paying attention. I'm not interested. This is where I'm going. Everything I do, think, or say is going to be based on this. This is the reality I'm creating, and that's that. Okay? I know that you're not alone. Hey, we're in this together, but not that narrative. All right? So you have support, you have tools, you have people, you have energy, you have consciousness. We're all coming together to forge ahead in the narrative that we choose. Do you agree? Leave your comments below. Let me know how you feel. Let me know. Also, I want you to share as it becomes clear. As you start to, all the stuff that's coming up, you start to use it to reset. As things starts to get clear, start to share with me, what does this new reality look like for you? Okay, how are you going to create? So for example, I'm going to start thinking of ways to maneuver this reality without, I don't know, shopping. Just think about that. It sounds weird, but hey, look around. It is weird. This is weird, right? So just think of new ways to become self-sufficient in a gradual way. You don't have to make it a big project, and because this will bring on anxiety as well, because you mean you're going to be like, whoa, do you mean I have to give up blah, blah, blah? You don't have to give up. Well, you're going to have to change and adjust, but it's better to start planning that change than to be forced into it, you know, because we know very well, they're telling us, you can't go here without the mask, you can't come here without a paper, you can't cross border because blah, blah, blah. They're telling us. And so we're not imagining this. So start to take charge and say, okay, how would I maneuver? How do I create this new reality and be in charge of my life moving forward without the use of this, without the use of that? I'll be just fine. Just think about that. All right. Leave your comments, leave your stories, and invite your friends. This is free. So hopefully this has been helpful. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you Wednesdays and Sundays. Take care, everybody. Bye.